Hey guys, welcome back to Isimo, a podcast about the Latino experience in America. My name is Gerardo Larcon. I am one of the hosts of the show, alongside Dominic Angel and Ryan Reyes. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to know about future videos. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a rating. You can email us at isimopod@gmail.com or follow us on isimopod and leave a DM or something. It's ISIMOPOD on Instagram and our Gmail. I wanted to take a second to tell you about Legacy Teas and Spices. You can go to www.legacyteasandspices.com and use our promo code ISIMO20 for 20% off. It's a company owned by Dominic and Ryan's mom. She's built it from the ground up and it's a great company. I've been drinking from 2 different teas right now. And I'm new to the tea game. It's usually Dominic that reads these ads. I currently have the Good Night Tea. It really puts me to sleep, dude. I be catching some Z's, yo. I also have the coconut green flavor, which is really good if you put it in the fridge overnight and wake up in the morning. It's quite refreshing if I do say so myself. So please go to legacyteasandspices.com using the promo code ISIMO20 for 20% off the online store. Thank you very much and enjoy the episode.
It's Isimo. You guys didn't.
Isimo. Nobody counted.
1, 2. It's
Isimo. Okay, that was very lackluster. But anyways, today...
Isimo podcast.
Isimo podcast. Oh, that's good. Isimo podcast.
I gotta be louder than normal.
Yeah, you're already being loud today, dude. It's so crazy.
Dude.
Wow.
You know what's so funny too is like his excuse is always like, this is how I talk softly. And then when we told him today, you're talking really loud, he's like, this is how I talk loudly.
I'm a loud guy.
Yeah.
Dude, fucking yelling at the top of his lungs. I'm sitting right next to him. Jeez,
I want to
Louise.
be heard.
I want to be heard. Speaking of being heard, today's episode, we're going to discuss Spanish.
Yeah, we're talking about Spanish, growing up, learning Spanish or not learning Spanish, what our experiences are. We're talking about the terms Pocho
Oh, yeah.
and No Sabo Kid.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I just learned because of the videos that we've been posting online.
Well, do you want to inform us on what you learned? Because I thought I knew what Pocho was, and I was wrong last night.
When I was in high school, I used to get called a Pocho a lot. And my understanding was that Pocho is just like a term for Mexicans. I don't know if any other demographic has this, but Mexicans that are born in the United States or that are removed from their heritage are called Pochos. And that everybody else was a paisa. There was paisas versus Pochos in my high school. Now I hear and it's always like an insult, and now I hear like people are trying to reclaim it, and it's kind of mostly for people that speak Spanish that are like maybe first or second generation that have immigrant parents or Spanish speaking parents that they grew up speaking Spanish, but they're still born here. At least that's what I've seen in the last few years when I did a little bit of research.
People just told me that it's somebody that's Mexican that lives in America, born in America, that's not really connected to their culture.
Honestly, I didn't hear it till like much later, and it was just in reference. Like, I've only ever heard it from people talking about being called Pocho. I've never personally. Maybe it's just because I was, a kid. I was like the youngest of my brothers, so nobody really paid attention. So I was never really called that.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you called any derogatory, Latino slurs, I guess?
No, the closest thing was like I had a girlfriend who was half Mexican, half German, who was born in Germany. So she would make fun of me because she knew Spanish and I didn't. She would call me coconut.
Oh, because you're brown on the outside, white on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get called coconut a lot.
The first time I heard it was from Ryan telling us that story.
I feel like that's one that's like a lot of different minorities are called coconut because it's just like an easy reference.
Never have I ever heard anyone brown or black called coconut.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I have a story. You guys want to hear a story?
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay, so in 9th grade, I was in computer class, right?
Yeah.
And there was this white hillbilly looking guy that sat next to me. And he would call me Spick all the time. And like randomly would just like say Spick and people would laugh. I don't care. I was learning how to type. And let's be honest, I know how to type now. You know what I mean?
98 words per minute.
Yeah, dude. I'm the fastest typer. How do you think these episodes?
Highest score on Z-type, homie.
Yeah, highest score on Z-type. So anyways, so the white kid always would call me Spick. And then one day I got, the balls to just, for out of the blue, just called him a cracker, right? And then this made him very mad. He was very pissed. Let's fast forward like 3 or 4 months later. I get called into the dean's office right? And it was like 3 or 4 months later. And they informed me, they were like, so we're just wondering, did you ever call this one guy a cracker? And I said, yeah, I call him a fucking cracker. He called me a spick every fucking day. And it got to me one day. And then the dean was like, don't worry, you're not in trouble. It's just that you're on his hit list. There was a hit list.
Jesus Christ.
And there was concern because his dad was a cop. And he had access to a weapon.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his dad would have covered it up too.
Sounds like this cracker was pretty salted.
Yeah.
I've been holding that in the whole time.
Yeah, it was wild. And then I had to walk back to class thinking like, I'm on a hit list, You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the first top 10 you ever got, huh?
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's the one story in my head that sticks out. And then we were trying to record this episode before, so it kind of is a little awkward repeating stuff. But I had told you guys another story about the reasons why I don't know English, why I am a Pocho,
Right.
And it's my mom didn't want to teach me English because my sister would translate. And also, I don't know if this is true. Okay, my sister sent me a picture last night of everyone watching the fucking podcast. Now I'm like stressing. You know what I mean?
Hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah, right. It's like that's all the 400 views is my fucking family. No,
Everybody talking shit.
Yeah. What's it called? Anyways, my mom taught me Spanish because my sister would translate English for Spanish speaking students,
Right.
to the teacher, and so she was like, "I'm cutting this shit off right now." You know what I mean?
Yeah, the stuff with like learning Spanish, the reasons why people don't learn Spanish is why, like, that's what I don't like about these terms, Pocho and no Sabo. Like, I mean, so first of all, there's a movement to reclaim Pocho, right? But again, like, from what I've seen is that those people tend to speak Spanish, that all the ones that I've seen. But this new term that I've heard pop up is no Sabo kids, which... honestly, I fucking love it. The more I've been saying it ever since we've been posting, ever since the last episode, and now I'm like, I fucking love it. I'm a no Sabo kid. Like, I'm reclaiming that shit.
What do you think about no Sabo?
I just like the way it's used. Like,
You like or you don't like?
well, I mean, obviously, nobody should be using any term to be derogatory to anyone. But the only experience I've received so far are people getting mad at me for, like, the smallest shit, where it's like, oh, that's not Mexican. And it's like...
Are you referring to the Lucas joke?
That's been the biggest thing, and I wanted to get into that.
Yeah.
But there's been other examples, like...
Basically calling you out for not being Mexican enough because you don't like Lucas. You don't like green sauce.
I
red
like
sauce.
Lucas... But if you were to describe somebody, if you were to tell a white person what Lucas was, what would you say? It's salt in a salt shaker.
With some lime.
With some lime and chile.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you there. See, but Dom knows this, and I'm sure we'll talk about candy on another episode, but I've never been a fan of candy.
Yeah, this fool hates everything nice.
No, I just never got into candy. But
Yeah.
Lucas is addicting as hell. You eat some Lucas as like a fucking 10-year-old?
Citric acid, man.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Pull your mic down. There you go.
You know what's funny? This just thought occurred to me. Were you ever one of those kids that, like, I was, and I'm pretty sure Dom was, like, it's going to sound silly if you haven't done it, ate mustard.
What the fuck, dude?
You
No.
used to do that, like out of the packet.
No.
I knew kids that did this, and I was one.
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
No, you hold on. You're not gonna go and put this shit out in the world and talk like I fucking sucked mustard out of a packet. That's never
weird.
once happened to me in my life.
Describe.
I didn't even start eating mustard until like 2 years ago. Fuck that noise, dude.
You sound offensive.
I'm offended that you're fucking calling me a mustard kid.
Anyway, so with Pocho, I don't like Pocho. I don't like no Sabo. I don't. It's fucking stupid. It makes sense, but it goes back to like the culture of just making fun of people for no reason.
Let me tell you why I love no Sabo, because no Sabo comes from people messing up learning Spanish. It says that this fool doesn't know how to speak Spanish and he's saying it wrong. But what is he saying wrong? No sé, which means I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's so dope about no Sabo. No Sabo means that somebody is trying to show that they care, but they don't know. And so when you fucking make fun of somebody by calling them no Sabo, that means that you're showing that you don't care, that they're trying. So it's like, why is it such a big deal that I don't speak Spanish if I'm trying? You should be encouraging somebody. Like, instead of be like, oh, fucking no Sabo kid, be like, oh, actually, like, good try, but it's no say. Like, that's what you say instead.
But how many kids have said no Sabo and then therefore are called no Sabo kids?
I mean, enough to make it a phrase, I'm guessing.
And also kids, not kids, but people. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen fucking full-grown adults on TikTok, like, making no Sabo kid videos, like, making fun of people that don't speak Spanish. Yeah,
I'm not into this no Sabo culture. I don't give a shit for the saying. It's like, think of something better. We have gringo or güero. Like, just say that. It hurt my feelings like that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like the term, but I like reclaiming it.
Yeah.
I just think it's silly.
What I don't understand is, how are you supposed to learn? Bro, I talked to my girlfriend about this. Like, how am I supposed to learn Spanish? It seems like the hardest thing to do.
Right. It's hard to learn a language as an adult.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm learning more and more now. And I think it's just the repetition of things. Like, when I first picked up a guitar, I thought to myself, like, this is impossible. You know, and now I can do a couple licks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, part of it is like, it's just not having a space to practice without like being made fun of, or without like literally being discouraged. Like, how are you going to make fun of somebody for not knowing and then discourage them from trying? Like, people make it such a big deal how important it is for us to like be connected to our roots. And then when we try to, you're like, fucking idiot. Like, like
Yeah.
what the fuck is the point in even trying then?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, even going to Mexico and speaking English there, it's just like, if you're good at English, they fucking hate you.
Yeah.
It's just an immediate thing. Now, do you think that Pocho and no Sabo is strictly for Mexicans, or do you think it's across the board for other Latin American countries?
I think it could be used for Latin Americans. When I posted the Brown Pride clip, I had a lot of people that were Guatemalan, that were Chilean, that even people, you know, that are not Latino, like, responded. But, you know, I'm saying, like, a lot of Latinos, it resonated with them. So, like, I'm assuming that, yeah, there's a lot of people that if they don't speak Spanish, like, they've been probably called no Sabo, or they feel no Sabo. You know what I mean?
They feel no Sabo. I'm gonna end this somehow, dude.
What?
I don't like it. I just don't like being made fun of because I don't know Spanish. Because guess what? I fucking know English, dog, like, really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I would never make fun of somebody that is trying to learn English and that has an accent. Like,
yeah, dude,
it's wild.
I mean, if you look at the two comparatively, like that analogy, it's a total tell sign of like what the culture really is like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Mexican culture is kind of toxic to like a large degree.
There is a lot of it. It's a lot of machismo, a lot of puffing your chest up and like flexing on people for certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I mean, obviously Mexican culture is beautiful and I love it, but there's, just like anything, there's flaws, and there's stuff that I experience negatively because of it.
Yeah. Ryan?
Well, like Don was saying, like, obviously nobody should be making fun of people, you know, like creating words and phrases for the sole purpose of making fun of people. But honestly, like, when I meet people like that, especially like online, I like tell them that I just think they're a silly person.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm going to, right now, because it's my only point of view right now, is I'm going to reference I made a video about Lucas and how it's just salt, and people, everyone loved it, but there was like a handful of people that were like, this dude's dissing our culture, this dude he's not real Mexican, we got to disown him. And I'm like, you sound, because it's candy, and it's like a industry made candy, you know, like, you sound like you're saying like, fuck you, I love Skittles. Like, you sound like a child. And that's like the same attitude I feel they always have with everything. And so it's like, that's how they always look to me, is just petty people who just like want a reason to be angry.
Yeah, I think petty is a really good way of saying how Mexicans react to you not knowing Spanish. They're petty as fuck. And it's like, it's very like, and then you can get into like the prank type aspect of it, where they fucking prank you on not knowing words and like start saying some homophobic shit to you.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's it really is a weird I don't know, there's something to be said about fucking Mexicans that just don't give a shit about hurting your feelings or helping you learn Spanish. I mean, maybe that's how they were taught Spanish, by fucking getting teased over and over.
I mean, it can also be a thing, like, like personally, and I've also met other friends who say the same. I've kind of grew up with that kind of like a lot of Mexicans believe in tough love, kind of a bullying makes kids better kind of a thing. Bullying is necessary. And honestly, I feel like it's a combination of like it's how they were raised, but it's also like this very internal, definitely like they're never aware of it kind of a thing where they will feel jealous if you get something better than they got.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of a thing that a lot of Latinx people grow up with. And that's why, like, you know, on the outside, he's like saying, fuck you, you don't know the Spanish, you're not connected to the culture. But he's really saying, like, oh, you got to grow up and not have to, like, deal with this shit where I had to learn English to fit in. You just know English. Like, fuck you, dude.
And not to bring up this argument right now, but with Latinx and, you know, Latino, Latina, that whole aspect of things, I find that I'm not for or against either side of things. Yeah. Like for or against Latinx, for or against Latino. What I'm trying to say is the guttural, visceral reaction that most Mexicanos or Latinos have towards Latinx is also a tell sign of what the culture is like. Yeah. It's like you infringe on anything that we do and we're going to hate you immediately.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing because we created that term, didn't we?
We didn't create it like us, but Latinos did create it. It originated in Brazil, but I will say that it originated in print only, and then it was adopted throughout Latin America, and then moved into like Chicanos recently.
Yeah.
But it also popped up in the United States around the time that people started putting X instead of saying like female or male. They would put an X through stuff like that to kind of.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is just like the toxicity of Latino culture.
Yeah, I mean, the whole tough love thing you're talking about is fucking crazy. It's because you don't get to become a power lifter by somebody throwing weights at your head. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I just find it to be counterintuitive when people are thirsty for your culture and then you basically just slap them in the face with a belt. You know what I mean?
And the way that they fucking flex on you or like that force you into these holes, like, I remember in high school, I was in history class and I was literally the only kid in class that didn't speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing this assignment where we had to break up into groups, and the teacher put us in groups of 4, except there was 2 kids left. It was me and a kid that had just got here from Mexico 2 weeks before, only spoke Spanish. And he put us together, and I was like, Mr. Villa, I don't speak Spanish. How are we going to work together?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, no, I don't. He's like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. You're Mexican. I was like, Mr. Villa, I don't speak Spanish. Like how, you know, it was the whole thing. So pretty much what ended up happening was because it's the assignment's in English. This kid can't read English. And I couldn't translate, so I would literally just do the work and then show him. And after every answer, the only thing I could think to say was "es ya." That was it.
Es ya.
Es ya. And he was like, "Oh yeah, see, okay." You just do the work. But it's fucking crazy. It's just like people like it's like some inherent trait. And yeah, I mean, I definitely have an accent. I have a softer accent than a lot of people when I like actually concentrate and try to speak Spanish. It's there because when I was kids, you know, we were being taught Spanish. But like, again, one of the reasons why we don't speak Spanish, you know, your parents didn't want you to become a fucking token translator for the class. My grandparents were from Juarez, Mexico, and like they came and moved to El Paso, lived in Texas, the most probably anti-Latino outside of Arizona state, you know, in the country. And like they faced a ton of discrimination for being Mexican, for having an accent. So when we moved to Texas, they said, no, they have to learn English. They didn't want us to have accents. They didn't want us to get discriminated against. They literally were like, they're going to have it hard, so they need to speak English. So speak English to them. You know, it's a crazy survival thing. And the thing that they act like no Sabo kids, Pocho, like they act like it's a failure, that we're dissing our roots or that we're leaving it behind. And it's like, no, it's like, who do you think chose not to teach us Spanish? And why do you think they chose that? Because fucking white supremacy, dude. Like that's why I think with all of this stuff, like we should be coming at each other with compassion and like encouragement and like and teaching people instead of fucking calling them no sabo, like correct them and say what it really is and show them what else they can learn, you know?
That's the thing we grew up with, but that's also a thing that's like still exists today. Like, well, I would always run into kids that were like straight from Mexico. In our elementary school, I just remembered this. There was a bilingual version of every class in our elementary and middle school because of kids who like were better at speaking Spanish than English. And every time there was a kid who only spoke Spanish, who like their parents just moved here, the parents would specifically say, no, I want him to learn English. I only want him in English-speaking classes. And that affected the development in the class. Like by high school, a lot of these kids were like in the lower... I've mentioned it before, like something high schools do when they have a lot of kids that are failing is they put them in special ed classes. All of these kids that I met in elementary school, by the time they reached high school, half their classes were special needs classes because it was easier for them. Instead of just letting them take the Spanish classes.
Yeah.
Because they want their kids to adapt. They want them to fit in, but it affects them because they can't fit in. So like they lean towards the kids that, you know, all of them ended up becoming like shitty people because they were angry all the time. They were like, they can't pass school, so they're failing, so they get angry and they do shit like they bully and they drop out. And they become that kind of person, and that's like the people they surround themselves with, and then they end up becoming the people that call us no sabo.
Yeah,
because they're angry. They didn't have any advantages, and it was shitty for them.
Speaking of Spanish-speaking classes, in sophomore year, I asked my teacher, Mr. Delgadillo, if I can go into Spanish-speaking the next year, and he knew I'm not a Spanish speaker. He knew I did not know Spanish, but I fooled my way into it because he told me to go talk to the Senora Fox. And she'll let you know if you can go in there or not. And so I did that sophomore year. First day of junior year of high school, she was like, oh, you don't know Spanish. And she's like, are you sure you want to be in this class? Because it's difficult, you know? Because I thought it was going to be an easy A. It's like, come on, they're just going to sit around here and fucking eat quesadillas. You know what I'm saying? But it turns out that it was very difficult. You had to like read like literature in Spanish and then write book reports on it and shit. Like it was an English class.
Did you pass?
I got a C-.
Hell yeah.
I remember, and I thought this was funny, the one teacher that I had that did know Spanish, because I wasn't in Spanish class, was a white lady named Miss Lingo, and I thought that was funny.
Wait, so she taught Spanish? And her name?
Yeah, she actually taught Spanish at the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many, did you guys take 3 or 4 years of Spanish class?
I took 2.
Didn't. That was another thing. This is a whole separate conversation, but because of my diagnoses, certain classes I had were remedial. So I was in special ed enough that I didn't need certain requirements to graduate. Which kind of sucked, but we can talk about that later. That has to do with like how schools meet the needs of neurodivergent people.
I think the thing that sucks the most about not speaking Spanish when I was younger, not growing up that way, was like, the thing that I regret the most is that I couldn't speak to my Huito and my Huita, like, because they only spoke Spanish, right?
And Huita is what, grandma, grandpa?
Yeah, like grandma. I think it's, a nickname like abuelito. Mm-hmm. So that's what we called them. They were our great grandparents, and they were called my Huito and my Huita. So, and I used to love them. Like, and the thing that sucked is like when I was a teenager, I had a girlfriend that she spoke Spanish, and I hadn't talked to my grandparents my whole life. I've never had a conversation with them. They used to just come and like call me handsome and shit, and then like give me little toys and stuff. And then I brought my girlfriend to like a family party, and she was having a full blown conversation with them for an hour. Yeah, and that was the most embarrassing I've ever felt, like, for not speaking Spanish. And ironically, my Huito is like the one person that I felt super connected to and like didn't make me feel embarrassed for not being able to speak Spanish. Like we would talk to each other in like our own little sign language and stuff. Like we were at his house and we would all be hanging out, and he would like come, and instead of telling us the food's ready, he would like come to the couch and be like, and it was the funniest thing. Like he always made us laugh. Right. Yeah. And like, when he passed away, I really felt like I lost a connection to my culture because he was like my connection. Yeah. And the craziest thing was like, after he died, they started divvying up all his stuff, and they gave me like his old cane and a coat that he had, and they gave me a bunch of his letters. And guess what?
What?
That fool spoke English.
Yeah. Well, because I know Spanish better with just writing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So like my grandpa, for instance, he knew English.
Yeah.
My grandpa that had died on my dad's side, and my grandma did not know any English on my dad's side, right? But when he would speak English, it would just sound like that water bottle right now, just like he's such a rough accent speaking English, and it sounded like he was drunk all the time whenever he would try to speak English.
Yeah, my grandpa Lalo, I love him so much. He's like one of the hardest working people that I've ever met in my life. He still works. He's just got a really good work ethic, and he's so funny. But he's the same. He's from Mexico, and like, he has a heavy accent. When we were kids, I was like 5 or 6, and my older brother and I used to fight all the fucking time. We were always fighting, and like, he came out one time and saw us fighting, and so he meant to say "don't fight," but instead, because he has such a heavy accent, he goes "don't fly." And like my brother and I just looked at each other and looked back at him and looked at each other, and all the three of us started laughing so hard. It was like a dope ass moment. And now, like, I'm 29, and that shit happened when I was 6. And now when I see my grandpa, every time instead of saying goodbye, we go "don't fly."
Dude, that's so funny. I feel like my grandma would have loved to learn English.
Yeah.
But every time she would try to speak English, she would just give up. She's like, yeah, this is fucking pointless, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Because people would just, it's the same thing with us trying to speak Spanish and then just being like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Fuck all of you. Fuck no Sabo, dude. How about that? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I miss him so much, but my grandma knew what I would say all the time. She would always understand me and my like lack of Spanish, but in Spanglish, you know. Yeah. And like it was so delusional to me because I would speak the same way to somebody else and they would just make fun of me, you know.
It's wild. I feel like it's a grandparents thing. I mean, they get it. Like most grandparents, I feel like, I don't know, on both sides, none of them made fun of me for ever not knowing Spanish. And they just like love, and they've like encouraged me. They've all said like, no, you're Mexican. Like they've all said like, don't let anybody not tell you that, like, you're Mexican, you know, you came from me. Like,
yeah.
How do you learn Spanish like currently? Because I'm trying to learn like with music, but obviously it's hard because I don't have a reference. And I talked about it in the last episode where that's why I don't watch like Mexican or media that's in Spanish because I was embarrassed. But now you watch it without subtitles, or?
No, I mean, I have hardly any time to watch anything. I tried to watch Selena last night, but I only watched it for literally 10 minutes. But and that show's in English. But anyways, no, so recently it's just been repetition. So I used to say mismo for everything, like same here, you know, mismo. Yeah. But then my girlfriend will always correct me and say igualmente, igual. Just igual.
Is that like, are they just synonyms so that she's teaching you more stuff, or is she teaching you the correct?
No, I think it's the correct way of saying it because I just say mismo for everything. So like same here, same. And then like, or we're getting something to eat and they'll be like mismo, like, you know, same thing, you know. But igualmente, I guess, is like better way of saying it. Igual.
Oh, okay.
Igual, you know. And then also through TikTok, you can learn so many different things for Spanish, like especially funny TikToks about like, there's one that's como, like all the different uses of como.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's like como. But he's like saying a whole sentence because there's so many different things that como means.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, dude, it's just like day by day different things that I learn, and that's about it. Like, yeah. I don't know if there's any one way to learn how to speak Spanish.
Do you go through anything? I'm trying to get on the Duolingo and the Babbel. I use the apps.
Honestly, if I wanted to learn Spanish like quickly, I would probably read books in Spanish.
Right.
And then every word I don't understand or where my comprehension is lacking, I would go and, you know, Google whatever's happening in my head. Like, why is this not making sense? Or like just like Google translating it. So like there was this one other TikTok. I'm telling you, TikTok, dude, is a great thing. I learned a lot of Spanish from there. I love
TikTok so much.
What's called? So my girlfriend sent me I sent my girlfriend a TikTok of 2 rappers like that were battling each other in Spanish. And I said, translate, you know, like, because I demand her to do things. And then, so she sent me back a text message of the whole thing translated, but in Spanish. Not translated. She just wrote it in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just copy and pasted that into my Translate app. And I was like, wow, they're just talking about how dope they are the whole time, just like any other rap song, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, that in itself, I learned like, certain words. Maybe it doesn't stick, but the repetition of learning those words over and over again, it does stick eventually.
Yeah, that's what I need to get into, because it's like, it's easy to kind of learn Spanish privately. Well, not easy, but it's like, that's how people usually do it. But it's so like hard to go out in public. Like even like trying to go order at a fucking taco truck, always ordering the same things because you know your order and you know how to order, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a taco truck, I always say hello so that they know I don't fucking speak Spanish. And they can be prepared.
I get so much hate, dude. My homie Juan, there's this, back in the day when I don't even think I was sober at this time, but there was this food truck next to his apartment in basically like Lower Glendale, entering LA.
Yeah.
And we went to the food truck and I would be like, hey, what's up? Can I get, he's like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, what's the matter with you? And I'm like, dog, I'm just getting food,
Yeah.
They're in fucking California. I'm just kidding. But he'll pull up and he'll just be like, oye, cuatro de asada, asking for food, and then he'll just make fun of me for not knowing Spanish. And then same thing with my girlfriend. When we go to the taco truck next to her apartment or next to her place, she'll always just like start rolling crazy R's for no reason, Dame las carnitas, por favor. And it drives me bananas. I'm here to say it, dude. You know what bugs me though?
What's that?
Mexicans that can't roll their R's. It's like, you're too far gone, buddy.
Yeah.
I bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I can, and sometimes I just don't hit the right spot. So I go like a jalopy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. I think that's why it bugs me, because it's like comes so naturally to me. Can you do it, Ryan?
Yeah. Like I can do it like on command, but it's also in natural speaking. It usually just depends on where it's placed in the word.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning. If it's at the beginning of the word, I have trouble sometimes. Like I'm trying to say rojo, but it'll do it too quickly. I'm just like rojo. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. But yeah,
I can say like carnitas, and it comes out naturally.
Yeah, see? Same here. Sometimes it's like tripping. It's like we've walked our whole lives, but sometimes you trip, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Someone ties your shoelaces together. Fucking dig.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, people used to do that in high school. There was always those
Bro,
kids
it's the worst feeling of all time.
I will say it's funny
Tripping?
when you can go. There was one funny version. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't bully. But there was a kid who, if he could sneak up to you and do it without you knowing, he would. And that was pretty. Like if you're sitting in a group, if you're standing in a group of people and you don't feel some dude's hands around your ankles tying your shit together, that's funny to me.
That's why you tuck your laces.
Oh yeah, tuck your laces.
I never tucked my laces.
I can care less about tucking the laces. You know why? It's uncomfortable, dude.
Also I don't like making eye contact, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah, that's a completely separate thing. There's no correlation between.
We're not talking about autism today.
What's it called? But when you tuck your laces into your shoe, it's the most uncomfortable feeling of all time.
Yeah, it puts pressure on. Well, what you're supposed to do is like, it depends on the way you lace it. like there's a way to tie it and tuck where it's not uncomfortable, which I started to learning when I got into like fashion.
Yeah.
You kind of you lace it up to the side and then tie it, and like it's like there's a little pocket right here.
Yeah, like between the tongue and the side flap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just not that. Like, I remember one time I think I was dressed nice going to a party, and then somebody told me like, "Damn fool, you look. What are your laces not tucked in?" And I'm like, okay, fuck all this, dude. Take my shirt. I'm gonna put on just like a fucking plaid shirt.
I like it because like this is what we're complaining about right now, and neither of you are wearing shoes.
Yeah,
I like myself.
I haven't worn shoes.
I'm making a stance.
Probably till I started doing comedy. I always had to have someone speak for me because I didn't like talking to strangers.
Yeah. Wow, dude,
insane.
that's intense. Can I ask, were you drinking at the time?
No.
So do you think drinking kind of lubes you up?
No, I would say like I got comfortable because of like comedy.
For sure. I feel that. Yeah. It's so crazy to me how you can go from like the pendulum swing so far. You could be the most introverted person, and then like go do comedy, which is like the gnarliest, like, you know, guillotine type judging of you on stage. You know what I mean?
I think for me it's easier because it's like it's different than like going practicing Spanish at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it's like you go on stage. For me, I'm the same. Like even off mic, off stage, I'm a nervous wreck. Like I can't. I don't like talking to people. It fucking gives me anxiety. But it's because I can think about what I'm gonna say. I'm the only one that's allowed to talk, and like I get to say exactly what I want. And the only thing I have to worry about is people not laughing. But to me, that's like a separate fear than of like social like faux pas and stuff.
Yeah.
But like when I go order at a restaurant, I have to be like, if they fucking ask me like anything outside of my order, like it'll like wreck me, dude.
Yeah.
Like then I just break and I'm like, never mind, I'm leaving.
I would say there's also kind of like and I can definitely recommend this because I got asked a couple of weeks ago, you know, as a neurodivergent person, how do you deal with social anxiety on stage? For me, there's also like it's kind of like when you're driving in a car, you're able to create a mental distance between people because you're not looking at person. You're looking at people. You're looking at the idea of a gathered group of people rather than individuals. So thinking of it like that makes it easier to just be like, you know, something to kind of shorten it. I think you told me this is like just look forward, like if you're looking at people and don't actually look at anyone.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like that's a great way to think about it. Is just like you're not looking at a person, you're looking at people, you know.
Well, I think I can very much relate to what you guys are saying about, because obviously I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people. I love going live on TikTok. I like communicating. I'm when I'm alone, I'm the most like
talkative.
No, when I'm alone, I don't feel like myself.
Right.
Like I feel like myself when I'm around people, or when I'm performing. When I just feel like, I don't know, purpose, I guess you could say. Oh God, that's yeah, but
no,
it's
that's
true.
cool. Like,
yeah. But when I go to a fucking Mexican restaurant and have to speak Spanish, or I'm looked down upon because I don't know Spanish, I feel like fuck everyone. I want to be by myself right now.
Yeah.
You know,
and that sucks.
Yeah.
Which is why fucking teach people, man.
Yeah,
Help.
I mean,
just don't be mean.
I wouldn't put it on people individually to teach people Spanish, but also just be understanding. Like,
Yeah.
if don't be a fucking jerk and make fun of me right now. Just let's find some way to communicate. If there's like, I don't know, a series of hand signals I can give you that will understand, like I want ice cream food, like give me like 2 scoops. You know what I mean?
I would, to kind of like meet both of you halfway, I would say the way to phrase it is, if you're not going to show me how to do it properly, just don't say anything.
Yeah. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah, I mean, when I was working at this,
compliments.
I was working at a portrait studio, and like I used to get people all the time that used to come in for passports, like their passport photos, and like I had to learn how to communicate with them, like pricing and stuff like that. And most of the time, I had like a real-time translation app, so I would speak into it and then give it to them, and they would speak into it. It was just like, obviously, it would be great if I could speak to them directly, but you find a way to make it work, and you just be understanding and encouraging of each other.
Exactly. Given today's technology, dude, we could fucking talk to each other, dude. You don't have to call me a Pocho or a no Sabo kid.
Yeah.
I just think it would be funny if they had to make fun of you through the app, so you had to wait for the translation to know they made fun of you.
Like,
what's a puto?
what the fuck? What the fuck? What do you mean?
Oh my God. Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I find you know what's crazy to me too is like stand up is very scary. When I went back to doing stand up, I had the biggest anxiety attack of my fucking life, dude.
Yeah.
Coming out of the pandemic and performing for a crowd that's actually listening, because I did stand up like 3 or 4 times before this one open mic.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was like an attentive crowd in attendance.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the correct way of saying it, but they were attentive. The people in the audience were listening.
Yeah.
And it gave me the most anxiety I've ever had in my life. And then the host was like, "Happy birthday to me," you know, like riling the crowd up like crazy. He had just told me I was about to go on stage, right? And there was this crazy scene where people were running on stage and grabbing the mic and being like, "Happy birthday, fool, I fucking love you," taking shots and shit, right? And then he goes, "Coming to the stage is this other person." And bro, I felt them, like before he said the person's name, I was like losing my mind, dude, which is not something that I feel comfortable with. Like I don't get that way when I go on stage.
Right.
Yeah.
I never feel like, fuck, dude, I'm about to go on stage and like put myself out there like this. Like I never got that feeling before the pandemic and doing comedy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I feel, dude, I do that all the time. Every single performance, open mics, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. This was an open mic, dude.
This was an open mic?
Yes. But there was like 80 or 90 people there.
Oh, shit. I mean, that's a show. Like, even,
yeah.
Well, I mean, unless 80, 90 comics.
And I bombed.
Yeah, that sucks. But I get that before every performance. Like, I have to go to an area and like pace because my adrenaline starts pumping.
Yeah.
So I go through my set and I look at my set list and I'm like literally speaking in real time and like pacing back and forth. And then, you know, you get called on stage and as soon as your foot hits the stage, it's like, okay.
I get anxiety from doing well because I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but when I do, like, especially at the shows, the clips I've been cutting up where I have the denim jacket, that Chatterbox it, I didn't talk to anyone for like an hour after I got off stage because I couldn't. Like, I think what it is in my head, like, I realize I'm doing well and I'm having fun, but then, like, that fucking, I have OCD, I have generalized anxiety, so my brain is like, good, now you cannot fuck up once.
Yeah.
Because you'll ruin all of this momentum. And it's
yeah.
So literally afterwards, I, like, can't talk to anyone. Like,
well, it is a weird thing. It's a strange thing. The whole point of me bringing up like how nerve-wracking that one set was.
Yeah. Coming
back to comedy, attempting to do old bits that I don't feel really comfortable with anymore. That's why I'm posting them all right now.
Yeah.
The whole fact of me saying that is, imagine doing stand-up in Spanish, dude.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you guys think you would do it?
No, I would never do it. Not that I don't care to make Latino audiences laugh. I would love nothing more than to get on stage and speak Spanish and fucking be a humorous person in Spanish. Yeah. Like Escamilla, like Francisco Escamilla. Mm-hmm. Fucking hilarious, dude. I don't know if you guys ever watched his stand-up.
You showed me some of his stuff.
Yeah, the funniest guy. It's insane the amounts of pops that he gets and the reaction of your culture with you laughing at one thing, as opposed to me going on stage and talking to white people and making them laugh.
Yeah,
and playing the game too, doing jokes that I know that these audiences will like.
Whenever I do crowds that are more Latino than others, like when we did the shows in Santa Ana or, you know, certain spots in Almani or whatever, like whenever I know there's like more Latinos, I'll do my cholo bit. And like, that's how I connect. Like, that's my way of connecting, is because like I went to school with cholos. Like, I know that's how I feel connected. And when you make those people laugh, when I make Latinos laugh because of stuff like that, not just because of my own jokes, but because of those jokes that I feel connect me to like my Latino, my Mexican background, heritage, those are the best laughs. Yeah. Those are when I feel the best. Like, it's a dope feeling. Like, I feel like I belong.
Well, like I said, dude, Francisco Escamilla, just watching it is a spectacle in itself. It's like, this is amazing. I wish I can be a part of this somehow, you know? And then you watch him do English stand-up at the Staples Center and you're like, ugh, stick to Spanish, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be cool if I could get to a level of speaking Spanish where I could do jokes in Spanish. I would write jokes in Spanish because I feel like the people that do the best are the ones that write Spanish material and write English material, because instead of translating the sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a guy, not Mexican, but he's I think half German French musician named, he goes by Strome. He has this quote because he toured in the US I think like 6 years ago, and during an interview he has this quote that's like my favorite quote in regards to this topic, where he said, someone asked him if he'd ever do an album in English, and he said, not right now. Probably not for a long time. The amount of effort that would go into having to translate and match the phrasing to what I sound like in my own language would be so disingenuous that it wouldn't be worth it. I am most genuine in my own language.
Yeah.
So until I can do that perfectly, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that's why I go by Dominic Angel. Like, I'm not I have a stage name, but it's not really a stage name. It's a stage name because we're brothers. Yeah. And we were going up together. And Ryan Reyes sounds better together than Dominic Reyes. I'm not embarrassed, you know. I literally gave up my last name so that Ryan could have it. Because I didn't want to create competition between us. But anyway, I was like thinking, like, because my last name's Angel, and like I don't want people to think that I changed my name because I'm embarrassed or that I'm trying to get ahead, and like diss my culture. It's like, it's literally, that's the only reason. So I was gonna change it to Dominic Angel, but I was like, that's super duper disingenuous. Like,
well, people will say that without you even having to announce it.
Yeah, people have.
Yeah, I mean, like my uncle's name is Miguel Angel Alarcón.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's so many Miguel Angels, it's insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My name's Ryan. Sorry.
Do you guys have middle names? Yours is Angel, right?
Mine's Angel.
My middle name's Daniel.
Okay. It always made me laugh when a girl had a guy's middle name, or when a guy has a girl's middle name.
Yeah, like the dad wanted a son, so he named like. That's usually the story I hear is like the dad wanted a son, so he could name someone after him, but he got a daughter, so he just like gave her his middle name.
Like, my name is Samantha Ryan Estrada, you know?
Yeah.
Samantha Benjamin. I love when it's like a rich white guy name, like Connor.
Connor.
I'm named after my mom.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we both are kind of.
And you're named after your mom and your dad.
Yeah, it was like a thing where it's a tradition in my dad's side of the family where the oldest son is named after the father. So
when I was born, my mom was like, well, fuck it. If he gets one, then I'm going to get... And then, so that's why my middle name is Angel, because my mom's name is Angelica.
Yeah, which is like funny context because it makes it sound like they couldn't decide, so they both... What happened was like they were trying to... They had already, named a kid after each of them, so they were trying to think, well, what do we do now? So they're going through a list of names. They're not liking each other's choices. And then my dad's older sister, what was it, Tia Rosa?
Tia Rosie, yeah.
Rosie, I said Rosa.
That's her name.
She's like, well, what if you guys can... She had like it occurred to her. She's like, what if you guys combine your names? Because if you spell it this way, my name's spelled R-I-A-N, it spells Ryan. And they loved that idea. So technically, my dad loved saying this. And this has been like it was a fun connection, like inside joke, not inside joke, but a connection with me and my dad. He loves reminding me like, your full name is Ricardo Angelica Daniel Reyes.
Oh, so your middle name is Daniel.
My middle name is Daniel.
Okay, yeah.
We got there.
No, my dad's middle name is Gerardo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've told you, I think I told you guys this before. I don't know if it was on the podcast, but I believe, I did say this on the first episode, that my grandma and grandpa on both sides, Francisca, on both sides. And I know for a fact, though, and fact check that. Fucking family, if you're watching this. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? What's it called? On my dad's side, my grandpa's name is Francisco, and he comes from a long line of Franciscos. Just like everyone's named Francisco, apparently. And then he broke that by naming my dad Juan Gerardo Alarcón, and then my dad named me Gerardo Alarcón with no middle name. Okay, yeah. I know this guy in high school claimed to have been a direct descendant of Pancho Villa.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he gave me a free guitar amplifier once.
I feel like everyone knows that guy. Like, it's kind of like how a lot of Greek people say they're descendants of, was it Alexander?
Yeah, but he was a direct descendant of Pancho Villa. So, like, the family lineage leads to him.
Yeah. That's right.
Crazy, right? But Pancho Villa also was a fucking whore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Men can be whores too.
That's what I call them a whore. Basically, just instead of being mean to somebody that doesn't know Spanish, just like don't teach them. Just don't be a fucking jerk.
Yeah. Have some empathy, have some understanding, and like, be patient. Yeah. I mean, you would want somebody to be patient with you if you're trying something that you're unfamiliar with. Like, it's pretty simple, you know?
Yeah.
If you see someone trip, you don't have to help them up, but don't kick them while they're down.
Exactly, yeah. There we go. This episode is going to be 30 seconds long, just what Ryan said. But yeah, I think that's it for the podcast today. This has been very fun. My name is Gerardo Alarcón.
I'm Dominic Angel.
And I'm Ryan Reyes.
And so go ahead and follow the podcast on Isimo Pod on Instagram, ISIMOPOD. Email us at isimopod@gmail.com. You can see us. All our link trees are in the description. We'll link anything else that we talked about in the episode in the description. I don't think there's anything for this episode, but if there is, you'll see it in the description. Go check it out. Leave a like on the comment.
Leave a like on any comments in the video. Like, comment, share it. We really appreciate all the views and all the support everybody's given us so far. Like, it's beyond belief phenomenal. I did not expect this kind of response when we first started, and we appreciate everybody that has done so far. But it really, really helps us if you guys do all this stuff, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. Rate us on Apple, like, comment, share it with all your friends.
I don't know if we said this. Click the bell so you can see future episodes.
Yeah, if you click the bell, I'll let that be your decision, but definitely subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
Subscribe. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for your support. We're gonna try to keep putting out like the best quality episodes we can, and I'm excited for the future.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you next week.